Hey guys, what's up? Murder of Birds here. Long time no see. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to bring you guys another bit of RWBY news and information as we are steamrolling over the next couple of weeks leading into the premiere and the hype train that is RWBY Volume 6. So for those of you guys who have been out of the loop over the last 24 hours, yesterday Rooster Teeth revealed on a bunch of their social medias the official final design for the RWBY Volume 6 poster. It looks so cool. There's a bunch of contrasting elements and colors and characters, and there's a lot going on there. A bunch of people in the community have already begun to speculate and theorize what we can extrapolate from this actual poster going into Volume 6, because as we know, if characters or settings or things of that nature are featured in the volume poster, it typically correlates to what is actually going to be happening in terms of character interaction, or, you know, a character that might have more of a presence during that volume. But before we get into that, I just want to say I'm really happy to be back to the old song and dance of recording and uploading videos for you guys. I know I've been MIA for a bit without, you know, posting anything relative to RWBY or Red vs. Blue lately. I just finished up my Spider-Man playthrough, and I'm getting back on track with all the type of videos that you guys can come to know and expect before RWBY Volume 6 happens, so stay tuned for that. And relative to this video, and I'm super happy about this in particular, but the image that you guys are seeing on the screen right now, this is the first thumbnail that I have personally ever made on my channel. Long story short, all of the graphic design thumbnails that you guys have seen on my channel pertaining to RWBY and Red vs. Blue, mainly with the reviews, the discussions, the live streams, and you know, the news and information videos, those have always been done by a friend of mine over the last 2 years who has helped you know, my channel grow with his graphic design work. But yesterday I kind of like went full focus mode, and I wanted to try to expand and try to improve as a content creator. I'll actually show you guys what the thumbnail looked like previously. So this is actually what the thumbnail looked like 3 hours after I kind of went through you know, I use Adobe Photoshop CC 2018, the latest version from the Creative Cloud, and I was on YouTube for 3 hours going through a ton of tutorials, figuring out the ins and outs of how to make a thumbnail, and this was the resulting factor 3 hours in. With a bit of tweaking and people, you know, giving me constructive feedback and criticism on how to make it better, this was the final product that I came out with. And I just really hope that this is like a good thing moving forward of me being able to expand more as a content creator. I'm very happy with how the thumbnail came out. Hopefully it's appealing and catches people's attention as they're scrolling through the YouTube feeds to come across the video. And this is going to be the design and format for some of the thumbnails that I'm going to be creating moving forward. But I just thought I'd mention that because I was incredibly proud of that, and I was really happy with a lot of people who gave me the feedback that I needed to make it better, and who were genuinely impressed with my first thumbnail that I've ever made. So that thumbnail will always hold a special place in my heart. So on to the topic of today's video. Yesterday, like I said, Rooster Teeth revealed the RWBY Volume 6 poster that's got everybody hyped. Let me tell you something, right? I was already looking forward to Volume 6 as I look forward to RWBY every year. They were dropping a bunch of different art for RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Yank leading up to Volume 6, and that was getting me excited. Has got me so hyped to realize that in 3 weeks, we are going to be getting the first episode of RWBY on Rooster Teeth website for first members, and leading up to the 12 to 14 chapters that we'll most likely be getting of a new volume, new development, new reveals, new fights, you know, further progression of the story and everything else. So I am so, like, this poster's got me hyped. I'm so freaking excited for it. And New York Comic-Con is actually taking place this weekend, so if you are going to be attending New York Comic-Con, there is a very good chance that they will have some early drafts of this poster available for purchase, as they've been able to get these posters out for New York Comic-Con over the last 2 years with Volume 4 and Volume 5. But as for the poster, as I said, there's a ton of people that are doing speculations, you know, analysis, and their own type of interpretations of the poster, what it can mean for the volume, what it can mean for certain characters and stuff like that. So we are going to be checking out this poster together. I'm going to be giving you guys my general thoughts. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments as well. I'm going to change up the format a little bit, but let's check it out. And with the magic and power of OBS, I've actually been able to get the poster up on the screen here from my main monitor for all of us to kind of look through together. So this is what the official poster looks like in all of its glory. This poster will be on that back wall, replacing the Churchism poster once it's available for purchase. It usually is available for purchase before the halfway mark of the volume. I remember last year, Volume 5, I believe the poster was available for purchase around episode 4. So we might have to wait a few weeks. Granted, it's 3 weeks before the volume comes out, so they might be able to get it to us a little bit sooner, especially if people at New York Comic Con are going to be able to get some early drafts of it themselves. But yeah, this is the Volume 6 poster. As you can see, it features a Grimm, Salem, a shadowed character, RWBY, Weiss, Blake, Yang, Oscar, and Ozpin. Obviously, comparing it to previous volumes, you know, Team RWBY's always been the center of attention with these volumes. They're the main characters of the show. So that's not really anything to kind of look at in grand context, other than the fact that Team RWBY is back together at the end of Volume 5 and will be traveling together for the remainder, hopefully for the remainder of the series, unless anything happens. But for the most part, Team RWBY will be together for Volume 6 as they travel to Atlas, so that's very good, keeping all of the story plot points in one cohesive fashion, moving all together at once, which is great. But the big thing that you kind of take away is what is featured beyond Team RWBY, right? Last volume, Volume 5's poster featured Oscar, Crow, Raven, Cinder, the City of Mistral, along with Team RWBY, and that was really big because I think out of every character in that volume, I think Raven, Cinder, and Oscar really grew the most out of that volume, having a lot of dialogue, having a lot of screen time, compared to what we've seen of them in the past. So I'm going to zoom into this, and like I mentioned, be sure to just leave your thoughts overall in the comments, what you guys think about this poster, what do you guys think will happen as a result for these characters that are featured in the said volume, and everything like that. So the first thing that I want to break down and talk about is the fact that Salem and Ozpin are both in this poster. These are two incredibly enigmatic characters because of the fact that their existence predates everything that we know so far for the world of Remnant. They predate the color rule, right? The trend that all of these characters are named and inspired and based on color. You know, Ozpin and Salem, they don't go by that correlation. We know that Ozpin has existed for thousands of years because he's failed to defeat Salem in the past, which then would mean that also Salem existed for thousands of years. There's nothing that we can get in the present to kind of give us more depth and more understanding of these characters. I really do feel like at the end of the day, the only way we're going to understand Salem and Ozpin's relationship is based on the past. Similar to something like Kuroyuri, right, where we got a glimpse of Ren and Nora's history and, you know, backstory based on them being children. I really do think the best way to kind of show us Salem, her origin story, her relationship with Ozpin, why she's, you know, the harbinger of Grimm, why she's the queen of Grimm at this point, even though there was the god of light and the god of darkness, and that god of darkness is the one who harbored and created the Grimm. Does she have a connection to this? You know, does she have a connection to the god of darkness? Is she a descendant of the god of darkness? You know, is Ozpin's story actually true about the god in relation to Salem and why he's quote-unquote cursed? I really do feel like this volume is going to primarily focus on the past, similar to the Adam Torres character short giving us a glimpse in Adam's past. I do feel like Volume 6 might just be that. And I know I'm kind of hamming it up right now with Salem, but we got her reveal at the end of Volume 3, and nearly 3 volumes later, you know, we don't know anything about her. We don't know anything about her past. We don't know anything about, you know, what her ultimate goal is, you know, why she has this vendetta against Ozpin and humanity. You know, is it something personal? Is it something that's innate and just, you know, natural for her as a human Grimm hybrid or of some sort? I'm very much intrigued, and I want to know as much about her and Ozpin as possible, and the fact that they're both in this poster says a lot about what we could potentially learn about both of these characters, especially if we get glimpses of them in the past. So Salem and Ozpin being in the same shot is incredible. Obviously, we see Ozpin and Oscar featured here as well, because obviously they are now one in the same. I do like the little kind of aura, like orangish aura effect that they gave to Oscar, like on his clothes and whatnot. That might be the color of his aura. But obviously these two are intertwined at this point. Oscar's fate is Ozpin's fate, vice versa. And, you know, whatever Ozpin's going to be going through with Salem, Oscar's going to be dragged along, whether he likes it or not at this point, because it's also very evident that Ozpin can take over the reins whenever he feels it necessary. And I really do hope that out of all of the characters who ask questions, or rather don't ask questions, a la Ruby with her silver eyes, I really hope Oscar confronts Ozpin on that lack of agency that he has, where Ozpin can just take the reins, you know, assume direct control, and Oscar has no say in the matter. Especially since, you know, with Volume 5, he, you know, was fighting up against Hazel, and despite him saying, no, I don't care if I'm going to die, that's my choice. You know, similar to how it was Hazel's sister's choice to be a huntress and she got killed. And Ozpin was just like, I'm sorry, I can't let you do that. Let me take over you. So I really hope Oscar kind of, I really hope there's a back and forth between these two characters moving forward, because I really do like Oscar as a character, and I wouldn't want him to be engulfed by the mindset of Ozpin. Which, you know, I feel like that is a red flag for his character. So I feel like I'm jumbling around, and I do apologize for that. This is all freeform, by the way. This is just me expressing myself on the fly. But yeah, like, I'm obviously going to be talking about Salem. You can't talk about Salem without mentioning Ozpin. You can't talk about Ozpin without mentioning Oscar. So, and at the end of the day, the trifecta of these three characters, the dynamic between them, is something that I'm really looking forward to. The dynamic of Ozpin to Salem, from Salem to, you know, humanity, from Oscar to Ozpin, and from Ozpin to Oscar. So I'm very excited for that. And then really the only other thing that we can really talk about, other than the fact that, you know, Team RWBY's together, is this Grim up here. Now, I have an idea of what this Grim type is, and for those of you who don't know, I'm going to post it on the screen here. So at RTX Austin this summer, Rooster Teeth revealed that the new Grim type, or a new Grim type that it's going to be featured during RWBY Volume 6, is actually going to be a giant Manticore Grim that they used as a reference of a fan who actually created the original design. And I'm not entirely sure if that is the Manticore Grim, or if we're going to get two new Grim types this volume. I do feel like it's a little weird that Rooster Teeth would kind of spill the beans on something like a new Grim type at RTX versus just revealing it in the show, or just saying, hey, we have a new Grim type that's going to be in the volume, but not telling us, kind of like the Lancer Grim that they did in Volume 5. I don't really understand their decision for that necessarily, but, you know, hopefully hopefully there's still more for us to look forward to this volume. And another thing is the shadowy figure here, and I obviously saved this one for last because this has been the topic of a lot of, not controversy, but the topic of a lot of opinionated individuals who have a lot of different opinions on this character in particular. So, you know, there's a bunch of things that are going around right now. Some people think that this is a grimified Summer Rose. Some people think this is the return of Cinder, you know, based on what happened to her at the end of Volume 5. You know, short hair, the claw-like arm, the claw grimified arm, even though it's not drawn exactly in the same style of, like, the radius and the ulna having that little space in between it. You know, there's a lot of speculation. Some people think this is a brand new character that we've never seen before. I'm of the mind that, you know, I'm going to take this at face value. Volume 5 left us off at a cliffhanger with no one knowing if Cinder had either survived or died at the end of her fight with Raven after she fell off the cliff. I do feel like this is Cinder's return. And believe it or not, this shadowy figure has sparked a little bit of a gripe in the community for multiple reasons. Personally, you know, I identify and understand that Volume 5 wasn't the greatest volume, right? It had its moments. It had more shortcomings than I think any of us were expecting, especially in hindsight. And, you know, the only thing that we can really expect is for Miles and Carrie to you know, to acknowledge their mistakes, or acknowledge their shortcomings, or things that they could have done differently, or things that they could have done better in hindsight, and improve and you know, add on to that with future volumes. There are so many people who are just very salty and negative about the fact that this could potentially be Cinder's return. And it's astounding. First off, it baffles me that anyone would think that Cinder was just straight up dead. I can understand if you're not a very seasoned viewer of anime or watcher of anime and you don't understand Anime Rule 101, which is no body, no death. I would say Summer Rose is an exception because she was dead before the series started, and Ozpin's also an exception because even though he died, he still came back. You know, so it was like no body, but then he got a body again, so he nullifies the anime rule. But for the most part, you know, we saw what happened at the end of Volume 5. She got frozen, she fell off. you know, the bridge in the vault of the Spring Maiden, and that was that. No one knew if she survived, no one knew if she died, no one knew if she'd come back. Some people thought it was kaput, some people thought that that was a fitting end for her. I personally feel like there's more to tell. We don't know shit about Cinder. We know absolutely nothing about her character. We don't know her motivations. We don't know why she's decided to pair up with Salem. We don't know what she's fighting for in the grand scheme of things. We don't know her backstory. We don't know her history or anything like that. What she was like when she was younger, what led her down this path, etc. And I feel like her story is untold. So there are people that speculate that this is the return of Cinder. There are people that speculate that this is somehow Summer Rose, you know, the cape. Maybe she cut her hair. Maybe she got grimified. You know, and maybe that's why she doesn't, you know, she never came back, because in the state that she's in. And there are some people that think this is a brand new character. I'm not going to make your choice for you. I'm not going to say, you guys are wrong, this is what it is. I have my opinions, you guys have yours. And I do kind of dip and dabble in thinking those different things. This would be cool if it was a different character. It'd be great if it was the return of Cinder, so we can get more about her and kind of get an exploration of her backstory. And obviously, everybody and their mother wants Summer Rose, so I'll fucking take Summer Rose grimified, you know, shadowy presence over anything if it means we can actually get her character in the show. And, you know, with all of that, you have Salem, you have Ozpin, you have Oscar, you have this new Grim type, you have this shadowy figure, the shadowy caped figure, and obviously Team RWBY, they're back together, they're moving towards Atlas this volume. I'm wondering if this volume is really going to be taking a glimpse into the past to understand more of the present, you know what I mean? Because all the character shorts have hinted to the past of characters. We got Adam's character short, which featured the past, and, you know, Ozpin and Salem, I feel like we'll only really understand these characters if we knew what they were like or understand their history, you know, in the form of flashbacks, especially since this is going to be a transitional volume, and rather than go through the same thing that we went through with Volume 4, it'd be cool that while they're traveling to Atlas, we get all of this exposition and all of these, you know, flavorful moments of the past as a way of passing time between transitioning from transitioning to Mistral to Atlas. I think that'd be a good idea. And, you know, every so often, obviously, we're going to get a new Grimm, so at some points, they're going to have to shift back to the present. But overall, guys, that is it. That is the hype. That is the first glimpse of Volume 6 that we'll be able to get until the volume premieres over the next couple of weeks. If you are actually attending New York City Comic-Con this weekend, you will be getting a taste test of Volume 6 for a sneak peek that they're going to feature. It's unclear if it's a part of the episode. It's unclear if it's a trailer or another character short or whatever the case might be. But if you're going to New York Comic-Con, I'm very jealous of you. But overall, you know, those are all the things that I kind of took away from this poster reveal. Very, very much excited to see it in its full glory once the volume actually kicks off, seeing how these characters on the poster are going to be reflected and demonstrated and expressed with this new volume. As always, you know, I'm very excited of getting a new volume. Looking forward to the reactions, the live stream discussions, the reviews, and the you know, the shit posting videos and all that stuff, the memes that are going to be coming out of this volume. I'm very, very much excited. And I hope you guys are too. So, again, leave your thoughts, what you guys think about this poster. I'm buying it day one. Like I said, I love you, Church, but the second I get that new poster, Church is getting replaced for a new volume. But yeah, those are all my thoughts, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments so I can check them out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.